Hi, this is Tom James from VIP Stable. We're here at Southern Oaks Training Center in Sorrento, Florida. I'm here with trainer John Butenschoen. It's February 11th. We actually have a beautiful day today. We had to kind of postpone our VIP day from Saturday, February 8th because we had a ton of rain. But as you can see today, it's just a beautiful day here. And John had an opportunity to train pretty much all 2-year-olds today and a lot of 3-year-olds. So why don't we start at the top as far as the order that trained in with 2-year-old trotter Ned Pepper.
Trained well today. Average to medium-sized colt. You know, the RC royalties look like they've had a little bit of a force to be reckoned with in New York the last few years. So, you know, hopefully we got that type of a colt that can be competitive in New York. You know, and we'll see if he jumps up above that level. Today, when we trained him a mile and 240. Everything's gone along fine. Well, barring anything unforeseen, he's a very sure-footed, very good-looking little colt out there on the racetrack with enough pedigree that you know, we should have a little bit of fun in New York.
Yeah, a little Morrisville trotter. Let's go over to Try and Keep Up.
Part of the group of yearlings that we purchased, she's a Western Terror filly, great family. She's just all pedigree. She's not going to be a real big filly, probably similar to Cassie's Winner that we raced a few years ago. And trained her with Ned Pepper in 240 today. She's doing everything right, coming along. You know, if she's the same as McVita Bella or Maya Bell, where we raced them in the Stallion Series in Pennsylvania, we'll be in good shape.
Okay. I know in the second group we had American Messenger.
He's okay. A little bit further behind as far as physical, mental maturity goes, and lacked a couple of the earlier training miles. We had issue with a curb that we had to take care of. But today he went out, he trained well, he's coming along good. We trained him a mile and 241. So basically he's right at speed-wise where everybody else is. Just needs to get a little more conditioning into him, a little more seasoning. Looks like, you know, hopefully the same thing. American Ideals were very good up in New York the last few years. He's got the right type of pedigree. He's an average-sized horse. You know, I think we'll be okay there.
Okay. Acts of Terror trained with him today.
Yeah, he's a good-sized colt for a Western Terror. He's also part of the group along with American Messenger and Try and Keep Up. Really like him. We had an OCD that we had taken out of a stifle, so he'd fallen a little behind some of the other ones as far as getting all their earlier miles into him, but trained in 241 today. Real big, easy-going colt. Everything come out of his surgery fine. Everything's doing good. I like him. He's a nice big colt.
Okay, in the third group we went with Maritime.
Similar to Try and Keep Up. She is another American Ideal, so she is New York eligible. Got a great attitude, great gait to her. And it's just a matter of, you know, in some of these we'll see how far they go. It's easier this time of the year for me to tell you which ones I don't like than it is to tell you which ones are going to be good. None of these that we've talked about so far I despise. There are some that I did despise that are getting better, or vice versa. But you know, you can weed out the ones that maybe aren't quite as talented. You know, so far we've talked about a bunch of racehorses, and you know, I think if you go back and look at the interview from last year, probably was saying the same thing about All-Star Partner at that time. You know, he's you know, probably about the only notation I made was a good-looking animal that if he was by some beach, you know, he would have been worth a whole lot more, sold for a lot more. But, you know, I think in his training reports, he was probably similar to what we're at now.
Yeah, at this point, you're just looking to get nice sound horses at this point that are just continuing to move forward.
Right.
And we'll find out several more months, but, you know, so far so good with him. How about our little filly, the Rock and Roll Heaven filly, Elsa?
Today was not one of her good days. She lost a shoe training when I went around the turn up there, and she got a little crooked looking at things and grabbed the shoe and lost that. She made a few breaks. We went in 42 today, and she was a little bit behind the 8-ball there. I kind of was trying to be David slowing Goliath there. The colt I had in the company I paired her with today was a $100,000 Rock and Roll Hanover colt that we got from Lexington.
Right.
That is right at the very, very top of the horses that I got here. So it's kind of unfair for her that I keep doing that, but she's been able to do it so far, and she'd have trained right there with him today as well if she hadn't have made a break. But we'll get her reshot and get everything back going, and she'll be fine. But nice little New York filly. Same thing. We're going to have to see how her size plays into her. She's got a great attitude, great gait, wears a long hobble for a small horse. We had success last year with Mayabelle, so this filly has everything right going for her, other than maybe being a little bit smaller.
Okay. Let's go over to one of the other trotters. Explosive Drama.
He's a colt that just does everything pretty much right all the time. He's been all trot from day one. I believe today we trained him around 41 here today. Doesn't make much for mistakes. He's kind of a jackass around the barn, and likes to bite and nip and kind of carry on a little bit, but he still is a ridgeling. He's only had one testicle descend, so we're waiting to see if that one will descend or not, and then figure out whether we go the option of trying to look for it surgically or just race him as a ridgeling, or what we're going to do there yet. So that's the one question mark, is just how we're going to proceed there with him in that. But that means nothing for talent or gait. But
he looks pretty good on the track, though. I like
big colt, big gated colt. Like I say, he's all trot all the time.
Yeah, he looks good out there. The next group went with the Indiana bred, Just for a Victory.
Oh, that was a bad group today. both him and Strategic Alliance, we had a little bit of issues there. Strategic Alliance was in that group. We'll talk about him. I had trained him earlier in 48. He's the real big Yankee glide colt. And for whatever reason, he had it in his mind today that he was just kind of wanting to be a butthead. Whether only getting trained once last week had anything to do with it, but he went around 3 minutes today. But he had quite a few repeated breaks, and the same for Just for a Victory. His mind would just want, he'd look at this and look at that and wasn't paying attention. I did go a mile and 50 with him with his breaks, and he has been previously in 47. So both of them are better colts than how they showed today. Today's not a good day. I mean, good thing we're not on a elimination cooking show or Survivor Island in a challenge, because those two would be voted off, and they would have been some of the leading contenders earlier. But they'll be all right. We don't have to vote them off yet. So
now we can handle breaks in February. Yeah. That's not an issue. The seventh group that was sent out there today was with Prince Sealster and Tommy Terror. Let's tell me about Prince Sealster.
He's a good colt coming along. He's a real big, strong, solid made colt. It's going to be question mark a little bit what we have for Rock and Roll Heavens. Are they going to jump up and be the? Is he going to be a stud? Are they going to be the type of horse that people want to continue to buy in the future? This colt seems okay here right now. Really isn't doing anything wrong. Where's my sun's blinding me here? I can't even see.
It's terrible, the sun down here in Florida. I can't wait to get back to New Jersey.
But we trained him today in 42. That's right. Where pretty much everybody's all in the same ballpark. And he still is a stud colt, whether he's got a good enough attitude and he's not really causing any trouble around the barn. So we'll probably leave him that way for now.
Okay. And he went out with Legacy Continues, or Tommy Terror?
Yep, he's coming along real well. Medium average size, medium plus probably, Western Terror colt. Great family out of a producing mare that's had, good horse after good horse here. So other than being a little flighty yet still around the tractors, he settled down considerably after we had him gelded. He was a terror in the stall, and to try and hook him and do everything, but that really helped quiet him down and keep his mind to doing what he's supposed to do. Good going, good gated colt, and hope his pedigree can jump him up to the next level there.
The eighth group that went out was the Rock and Roll Hanover colt, Boulder Roller.
Yep. Here's a horse he kind of struggled finding his gait. He's still going slow. If you watch the videos or pictures that are taken, he kind of is a little bit up and down and hits the ground a little hard. And it reminds me a lot of summer camp, the way summer camp went. It took us a while to get him untracked, and he still is prone, even at his age right now, to make the occasional break or something, but he's just taking a little bit of time. We've worked on his muscles up across his ass end. Seemed to be kind of tight, whether he kind of was trying to find his gait and stretch himself out there, but today he trained real good. The faster we go with him, the better he gets. gait-wise. He kind of puts his head way down and reaches out and strides out instead of being up and down and not going very far with anything. But he was one that was on my don't list earlier, and he's turned into my do list.
Yeah, I know he was on your don't list. He actually surprised me. I thought he looked, when he was coming home that down the final stretch, I thought he looked really good.
He's always had a good attitude. You know, and horses that are a little bit bad gaiters or that do struggle early on. Several years ago, quite a few years ago, actually, when we first got married, we had two fillies down at the end of the barn. Was the last in the lease, and then next to the last in the lease, and I forget the name of the second one, but the first one that was next to the last in the lease was Phobia, and she made $167,000 as a 2-year-old. So as long as they got a good attitude and they go forward, that's what this horse. He's always been willing, always trying to go forward, and you know, he's really getting. I think also too, he's getting his strength to him. He's kind of a big colt and was maybe a little clumsy getting started, but you know, every time you take him out, you can just see a marked difference in him. He's kind of moved right up there, close to the head of the class here.
Not last or least, Penny, for your thoughts.
Very nice colt. Doesn't do anything. He's been a good colt from day one. He's just a very sharp, very smart-looking colt. Same thing on the track. Good gated colt. Rolls right along. Does everything you ask him to do. We trained him today in 241 as well. So pretty much everything 40, in the 240 range. Just kind of arbitrary times mean nothing much now. I can start and stop their miles at different spots on the racetrack. And the ones that went in 42 may go in 39. The ones that I had timed in 40 go in 43 or whatever. But it doesn't matter as long as they're doing it good, doing it right, good attitude. We've got a good bunch in that regard here, pretty much.
I know one of you just jogged today with Sugar and Cream.
Actually, I was just set to jog her. She was scheduled to train, and she banged a leg up a little bit overnight. There had some inflammation in it. Had Dr. Mather take a look prior to training. Said it looks like, you know, maybe she just rolled up against the wall or what. So I took her out and was just going to jog her, see how she was, and jogging her the right way of the racetrack, and a set of trainers went flying by me out on the outside. She heard them and kind of got spooked and took off, and she actually trained a mile in 2:43 today. So
yeah, I was saying
she was
you
smoking
was a jogger, and I said, wow,
yeah,
she's pretty good out there.
I was only supposed to jog her, and she kind of got carried away a little bit on me out there. And, you know, leg, everything looked fine on it, so
good. So. Good. I know one that we actually had to have a little bit of surgery on, True Blue Hall.
I got a phone call from the clinic there yesterday. He come out of his surgery, everything's doing good. Everything's fine. Supposed to be able to pick him up tomorrow on Wednesday, and hopefully we'll take a look at what their procedures are, what type of a protocol we need to follow as far as exercise, feeding, and whatnot. But they started him on free choice of food. They were monitoring his intake to make sure his guts and everything were back working too. He had a very abnormal obstruction in his small intestine, which I never heard. I've heard of obstructions, but how his was obstructed was just kind of one of those anomalies.
Yeah.
And, you know, all the other surrounding tissue, everything's healthy, and you know, quite a few horses go through surgery, and as long as they survive the surgery and their guts and stuff are still working, you know, I say 99% of the time they're never no worse for the wear, other than, you know, obviously it's the expense, and you don't want to have a horse that had surgery if you had your preference, but at least we still got a horse. There's been several times I've taken horses to the clinics that we don't come home with one, but everything's going fine. And prior to him getting sick, we had trained him a mile 2 days prior to taking him to the clinic. I believe it was in 244, 246. I don't have my notes in front of me, but just a nice colt. And we get the benefit as well that he is Kentucky eligible, so we don't have to push hard early, or we're not going to sacrifice a lot of things by having him miss some time here. So, you know, we'll keep our fingers crossed, see what they have to say, see how he does, and you know, we still are on track for a sire state.
Yeah, maybe kind of a Sevi training schedule, hopefully down the road, where we maybe just meet it and keep him fresh at that time, and hit him at the right moment. Hopefully, he stays healthy. And there goes Lucy. John, so far so good.
Yeah, not bad.
You're okay?
Yeah.
Feel kind of
All
confident?
your people all left too early on Saturday. A little bit of rain. We were all ready to keep training, and nobody wanted to.
We had a monsoon here on Saturday. Where we're sitting right now, there was a lake. Lake Butenschoen was right here. But again, it's beautiful today. We'll move VIP day up until later in February next year, I think. So
If
we
there
have
was
better.
a way to apologize for the people that came down, but there's Mother Nature is throwing curveballs to everybody, whether it's in the Midwest or it's in the East Coast or out to the West Coast. So
Not too much we can do about it.
We got
Especially
caught up.
the rain. Anyhow,
and even anybody, I mean, I know a lot of your people made special effort to get here on VIP Day. VIP Day is every day here in the stable. I mean, if you own part of something or just want to see the horses, you're more than welcome to come down anytime. Look at the horses. It's a beautiful training center. There's plenty of action and things to do, whether you want to relax, you want to go to the attractions in Orlando are a short 40 minutes away. You can go to Daytona, you can go to the golf, you can go up to a national forest and be lost. So there's quite a bit to do, conveniently located, and any of your members or any of your members' families or anybody for that matter don't need to wait for VIP Day. Every day's a VIP day here. So.
yeah, or you can go out and see Mickey, which is what I did the other day. Why not? John, thanks again for your help. We appreciate it. We'll look for another report in maybe about another 5, 6 weeks. We'll come down and see how everybody's doing. We'll
Change my mind and attitude.
now. So far, so good, it sounds like. What I saw out there, I was very happy with what I saw today. Despite a couple of the horses running a little bit, everybody looks good. 3-year-olds look great too. We'll have a separate update on them. John, thanks a lot. It's Tom James from VIP Stable, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Hi, Tom Fanning.